Yo, what's up, you guys? This is Nana, and I'm doing an interview with Rob, Front Row Live.
Nana, what's up, man? Congratulations with this new EP. It's seriously a breath of fresh air. I from beginning to end, it's something new. It's something fresh. It's something that I haven't experienced in hip hop and rap in a long, long time. So I want to dive in and talk about this EP and like that creative process for you initially. Like, how did this EP start for you?
First and foremost, I want to, say thank you. I really appreciate that you, appreciate and enjoyed the music. I think the process of this EP for me just started after, I dropped my debut project for Save Yourself, and I just wanted to kind of give an origin story of Save Yourself, and just really highlighting where I'm from. Save Yourself was a project about the listener beginning, highlighting not only where I'm from, but the people that come from where I'm from, and you know, um, just giving that backstory. That's where I came up with the title "From the District to the World."
Listening to Save Yourself and then jumping in and listening to this EP, like it's a big evolution, not just vocally but also lyrically, and obviously like the stories that you're telling. For you as the artist, like how do you feel? Do you feel like that you notice this evolution now when you listen to both of these records, or do you feel like you're still you don't see it yet?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was just all about trying new things as well, as far as the musicality aspect as well. So I definitely think there was an evolution. There was a great I wouldn't say it was too much time that passed afterwards, but every day is it's an is it leaves room, or it opens a door to evolve as a even as like a person. Like we learn new stuff every day. So even with the months that have passed, that passed in between, from that project, from Save Yourself to from the district to the world, it was a lot that I did learn. It was a lot that I wanted to implement in my music from the time of that project, Save Yourself to From the District to the World, and just being an open book, just wanting to try new things, wanting to try new sounds, wanting to document and highlight um, different aspects of who I am as a person, and having that reflect in the music. So yes, I would say it was a little bit more bouncy, but still having records that people can relate to, just on a personal level. So yeah, just kind of trying a little bit of everything.
Did you come into this knowing that you were writing this EP, or is this something that kind of revealed itself as more songs or tracks kind of started to write themselves?
Yeah, it was sort of like that. It was just kind of like, okay, I'm just making songs, I'm just having fun, I'm just like, being more just not really, I didn't really go into it with the mindset of like, okay, I'm gonna make a project. As I started to create more and more and more, I just started to catch a feeling, and it started to formulate on its own. And myself, I'm very storyline driven. So as it started to formulate, I'm like, okay, all right, instead of just putting out songs that are or feel good or not sound good, let me kind of piece it together to also um, make it make sense, and to also tie it back into Save Yourself, which is why you hear some skits on there that might sound familiar from the first project. So yeah, I'm very storyline driven. I'm very conceptual as well. So
Yeah, you definitely take us into your world with the way that you have your lyrics and the wordplay that you do. How did you learn to do that? Was this something that just naturally, like growing up, you were just naturally great at writing and storytelling, or is this something that you constantly have to work at? Like, are you reading books to help you do? Like, how do you perfect that?
a little bit of both. I grew up like listening. Some of my favorite albums, were, you know, had those elements in there, you know, and just being, everybody loves a good story. Like everybody loves a good story, especially, you know, in this lifetime that we experience, you know, we meet different people of different creeds and colors, and everybody has a story, you know, and it's about highlighting that and telling that and having that be relatable, because somebody might be going through something that's similar to a story that I'm telling, and it might save somebody's life, you know, because it's so relatable. So, you know, just having a little bit of everything, or just experiencing, you know, having some of my favorite albums be storyline driven, as well as wanting to document not only my story, but the stories of others as well, and having it be relatable to where it's like, okay, this is probably going to help somebody. So,
And in that same sense, like being an artist and being vulnerable to your audience, is that something that you just feel comfortable doing? Because you know, I know a lot of artists say, like, you know, we are here to talk about these, like, these hard topics that no one else can really relate, or no one else can really express, but they can relate. So do you feel the same happens to you when you're writing your music, or do you feel like you constantly have to, like, give yourself a reason as to why you're going to be vulnerable this time around?
yeah, I would say so. Like, I feel like as artists, we have a duty to kind of be on the front line, and we take on the responsibility to kind of be brave for others, and highlighting or speaking about stuff that you know, the average person per se wouldn't feel comfortable speaking about, especially on a public like forum or platform that we have. So, you know, that brings a level of comfort for the average person that hears us, to be like, okay, I might not be able to speak about this publicly, but there's somebody out there that feels the same way that I feel. And now that brings me some sort of like solitude, knowing that I can relate to somebody else out there that's going through the same thing, even though, you know, them might not, you know, they may not feel comfortable expressing that, not even to a family member. You know, there's so many people going through so many different things, so many abuse victims, and you know, just so many different aspects of just you know, real stuff that people go through that they can relate to when they hear it in the music. You know, music is medicine, and for a lot of people, you know, they hear certain things, and it just brings them a level of comfort, knowing that you know, they can relate.
When it comes to your cadence throughout this entire EP, um, is that something that came first before the lyrics came? Did you have these cadences in mind ahead of time, or did the lyrics help you kind of figure out the cadences throughout each track?
The cadences kind of came first, because I just wanted to try something different. So on different songs, like, you get different flavors. You know, I just wanted to try different, you know, approaches. And, you know, the same concept or the same mindset, just a different approach. And, you know, again, like what you said earlier, I think that just comes with growth and wanting to grow and pushing myself to want to grow, you know. So it kind of yeah, I definitely came like with the cadences first, and was like, okay, on this I want to kind of do this, I want to switch it up, I want to do something different that I've, you know, that I per se might not have tried on the last project, but, you know, I'm kind of, you know, pushing myself a little further on this project. So with every project, I always seek to evolve, I always seek to grow as an artist, and you know, just get better and try different things, you know, just not be scared. You know, that's the only way you could continue to just get better at anything. Just, you know, just being brave and not being scared, and just you know, just trying new things, you know. So
How important were these producers in order for you to be able to step out of your comfort zone for this EP?
very important. So we have DK the Punisher, my guy. DK the Punisher is from Inglewood. He's super talented. He's like one of my main go-to producers. He's not from Inglewood. He's actually from DK is from Baltimore. We have Superville from he's from Toronto. DJ Khalil, legendary, one of my favorite producers of all time. He was actually very instrumental in just like trying new things, or just having a mindset of trying new things. Who else do we have on there? We have Bregma, My guy Germ from Bregma was on there. So many different just dope producers that brought in that force and pushed me to step out of the box and try different things. We have my man Lord Quest, who's also from Toronto as well. It was a pleasure working with all of these guys. They're all geniuses and they all have just fire resumes to where I knew that they would add and bring an element um, of their flavor within my sound, to the project, and it just helped amplify it, something tremendous. So it was great working with them.
How do you marinate so many different flavors like that and still be able to give us this cohesive body of work like you did with this record?
Just kind of having an idea of what I like, having an idea in mind of what I'm like, where I kind of like want to go already, but it's really about just creating an energy and having a tone, like setting a tone, like, and creating energy and making sure that everybody's kind of like on the same page, and just kind of going in there and, having it just, like merge, having everything kind of merge into each other and just making sure that it sounds on track and not, this sounds like this over here, this sounds like this over here, this sounds like this over here. Everything has to sound cohesive. There are other songs that I made that didn't, make this project for that reason. Everything it just has to sound and has to make sense, even as far as the track listing goes. You can't, I think for me, I think that's one thing that I know and that I see myself just progressing and getting better at is curating the flow of the project, just not having a song that sounds like this, having that follows with a song that sounds like this. It kind of has to flow, and it's important. I think that's the most important part to telling a story, is making sure that it flows well. So
yeah, I mean, it makes or breaks the record, and
yeah,
I feel like that's one of the toughest things once everything is finalized.
yes.
In that sense, with these 8 tracks, which track do you feel happened or came out or created itself naturally, and which track do you feel like you felt the most challenged with, and why?
The one that came together the most naturally is the one that DJ Khalil did, which was real, with myself and Ken Jams. We went in there and we knocked the record out in like 20 minutes. Like, it was like a jam session. DJ Khalil was there. He called up some of his musicians. He laid the foundation. They played around it. Kent went in there, freestyled his part. I went in there and knocked my verses out, and it was like very quick. And it felt good. It felt like a jam session. Um, the most challenging, I would say, it's probably, I would probably say maybe, I would probably say Get Out the Way. Just because the hook took me a little while. The hook took me a little while to like, the verses were already like done. The hook took me some time to kind of like, it was different again, like to my point earlier, it was just something different. So just challenging myself and trying to, get the cadence of or approaching a cadence that I felt like I haven't really done before, and trying to, make it feel good and, kind of foresee how I see other people reacting to the record, was something that I was just like, okay, how do I do this? And it took me some time, but I just kind of let it come to me, and it ended up working out. So
Did you find yourself trying new vocal tones because of these cadences or because of these new producers as well? And if so, was there like a particular vocal tone on a particular song that you felt like it was like learning how to sing again, or learning how to be able to release this music?
and that's such a great question. Yeah, just honestly, just having a certain approach with each record. Like, every record calls for different things, you can't be, I feel like it's And that's one thing that I really admire and respect and love Kendrick Lamar for, because you never know which Kendrick Lamar you're gonna get on what song, right? So the voice is like an instrument, and you have to know how to, and that's one thing that I kind of learned with this record. You have to know how to um uh implement the voice and kind of get out of the way of the music sometimes. You got to get out of the way of the music and allow yourself to, or allow your voice to just be somewhat of a what's the word, somewhat of a an asset to the music. So by just like having an approach like for what the music calls for. So if the record is super high, you know what type of approach you have to have with that. But that also might mean that, you don't have to be so rappy rap on there. You just kind of like, it's all about just decorating the music and, just having your voice just kind of, you might have a cadence that's like, you might not be saying much, but in not saying much, it's saying it just allows the record to exist, without you kind of drowning the record out, and just it's fun in a space. So yes, I definitely did learn that with each song, and just approaching each song with specific vocal tones, and not screaming on every record, not being quiet on every record, just finding the perfect tone for the records that call for what they call for, if that makes any sense.
It's crazy how you might come in with like, I'm a rapper, and then you start working on this music, and then all of a sudden you're singing a melody or you're like screaming something like, and it's crazy how much this kind of music can just kind of guide you to new forks in the road and just try new things.
Yes.
In saying that, and to close us off, like with these 8 tracks, like, or during this process of this EP, what would you say was like your fondest moment, whether it was in the writing session, the recording session, or now that it's finally out?
My fondest moment was just like getting in there with a lot of these artists and just, creating with some of my, like, man, some of my like favorite artists out of Los Angeles, like Buddy, Kent Jams, Ray Khalil, Garen, like that was super amazing. And just being able to create a bond with those guys, even after the project came out, because a lot of these guys, like before I was even like really at the point of where I am now, I was a fan of all of them, so to have that mutual respect from all of them really means a lot. Being able to get in there with one of my favorite producers and DJ Khalil, and even DK the Punisher, I was a fan of his as well. So this body of work definitely is there's the level of fandom on my part, because not only are these people that I'm like working with, I'm also fans of. So this whole thing was an amazing experience, and so we have a lot more to come for sure.
Yeah, I definitely see you becoming a household name in the music scene, and I feel like this EP, from the district to the world, is definitely going to put that out there. So congratulations with this release, and I'm looking forward to more music from you, and hopefully catch a live session next time around.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me. Thank you for taking the time out to speak to me, and thank you for caring enough. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Seriously, like I'm a punk kid. I'm a pop punk kid and a rock kid, and I grew up like skateboarding, and I grew up listening to underground hip hop. But the hip hop rap world has kind of been non-existent to me for some time, just because I don't like what's been coming out. And this record like brought me back into it. So
that's love,
amazing.
Man. That's love. Amazing. Funny enough, man, I learned how to really, when I was really trying to learn melody and like study melody, Kurt Cobain taught me how to like approach records melodically, because he's definitely my top 5 favorite artists and writers of all time. All time. Man. Love Nirvana, man. That Nevermind album really, like, I studied when I was like really starting to study like how to be an artist. I studied Marvin Gaye's I Want You, and Kurt Cobain, Nirvana's Nevermind.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. I mean, that explains the storytelling, man. Like
Yes.
that's huge. Wow.
Yeah, man.
Amazing, man.
Well, thank you, man.
Amazing.
Appreciate you. Thank
I
you
knew
so
I
much.
felt something in there.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, man. But yeah, thank
Awesome,
you for
man.
having
Well,
me again. Appreciate you for real.
absolutely. I'm sure we'll do this again sometime soon.
Definitely, 1000%. Anytime you need me, man, I'm here.